Hi, how's it going? My name's Sean, and I am the founder of Musou Movement. Today, I'm going to go over what I think is the best way to stand in martial arts. I'm going to show you how to stand, how to move, and also how to not break your hand when you throw a punch. And for you lefties out there, stick around to the end, and I'll show you a major advantage we have when it comes to fighting. So what I like to do is I like to take a Muay Thai stance and widen it just a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm taking into consideration the idea of being taken down. So what I'm going to do, take your feet, put them together, and this is for a right-handed person or a right-handed fighter. You can take your right foot, you're going to take one step back, one step over, and I'm going to inch my back foot out just a little bit. Take your heel and raise it off the ground about an inch, half an inch. What this does is it allows me to explode back and forth faster. If your heel's on the ground, then you're flat-footed and you can't move as much. So if you want to have an explosive movement, keep that back heel off the ground. Take your elbows, put your elbows on your hips. This V section right here is where all of your power is. So everything that you want to punch should be in this V section. If I'm hitting the heavy bag, if I'm hitting mitts, if I'm sparring, I'm making sure that my target is in this area right here. Because what you're doing is you're punching through from side to side. Now you have three different ranges. You have short range, mid range, and long range. And depending on what the range of your opponent is, will change the way that you hold your hands. So let's start with short range. Short range is when your opponent is very close to you. They can knee you, they can elbow, they can clinch, they can throw body shots. Short range, I keep my hands tight. My elbows are always on my rib cage, blocking my organs and my ribs, and my hands are up blocking my chin and my temple and my nose. And you always want to keep your chin down. That way you can hide your chin with your shoulders as well. Mid-range is when your opponent can throw kicks and throw punches and land, but they can't hit you with elbows and knees. Now in mid-range, I can relax my jab hand more, but my backhand is always going to stay nice and tight to block my ribs, my liver, and I'm going to block my chin and my temple, and again, I'm always going to keep my chin down. But I can use my jab hand now to block as well as set up my combos. Then we have long range. Long range is when your opponent can land kicks, but they can't really throw punches, elbows, or knees. Now in long range, I can relax my arms a little more, but I'm still engaged. My hands are usually down here. My backhand always fluctuates between here in short range or here in long range. It's always back here. But my front jab can be even more relaxed. Here's a great range where you can catch your breath or break someone's momentum if you're having a problem. So if I'm in short range or mid range and I can't seem to figure out how to defend, I'll step back into long range and I'll have the ability to move. Now when punching and kicking, all of your power comes from your hips. Your ankles unlock the power in your hips. So if you look at my back foot here, when I'm throwing my cross, my heel's up, I'm turning my ankle while I'm throwing that cross. And by turning that ankle, it's turning my hip, which is also turning my shoulder. So my whole body weight is behind that punch. So nice slow-mo, turn the ankle. You don't want to overturn the ankle. You just want to turn it enough where there's a straight line. So again, so practice turning that ankle and don't overturn, just turn it enough where it makes a straight line like an arrow when you're throwing that back cross. Now if you look at my cross while I'm throwing that punch, you can do a little surf's up sign, this will help you. Watch my pinky, it starts on the bottom, but when I throw that punch, I roll my pinky over. As I'm rolling over, it's snapping my punch and I'm landing with these two knuckles. When you land a punch, you want these two knuckles to land. If these back two knuckles land, that's how you break your hand. So by rolling over, these two knuckles will always land. Now with the jab, it depends on if I want to throw a jab to set up a combo, to block, to distract my opponent, or if I'm trying to throw a power jab. If I'm just using my jab to set up a combo, I don't ever roll my foot. The idea is if I roll my foot, if my opponent can see the seam of my leg, then they can kick me and I can't block it. So unless I'm throwing a power jab, while I'm jabbing, I'm keeping this front foot straight. And the power comes in with more of just a step forward. If I want to throw a power jab, I step and turn slightly and corkscrew. Corkscrewing is when I turn that hand over. So a power jab is a step corkscrew, and I throw more with my shoulder and my hip, less with my ankles. So it's over. Now footwork. You never want to cross your feet. If you cross your feet and your opponent attacks you, now you're stuck. Your feet are always going to move together. If I want to go left, take my left foot first and I push off with my right. Here. If I want to go right, I push off with the left, lift up my right. This is the movement. My feet are never crossing. Same thing going backwards and frontwards. If I'm going backwards, I take my front foot, push back. If I'm going forwards, take my back foot, push back. So this is the movements. Never this. Now one thing to practice right now is your jab cross. Your jab is your front hand, your cross is the back hand. So we have our jab, we have our cross, my hands are coming right back to my face. I'm going to step left, jab, cross, I'm going to step right, jab, cross, I'm going to step back, jab, cross, step forward, jab, cross. And for us lefties out there, you're going to do the same exact thing as the righties, but it's going to be reversed. So you're going to put your feet together, you're going to take your left foot, take one step back, one step over, inch it out just a little bit, turn it, lift that heel up, and now your jab hand is going to be your right hand, and your cross is going to be your left. Now, there's a huge advantage of being a lefty. One, not many fighters know how to fight against a lefty because the stance is different. But two, this is my favorite part, our power kick is now lined up to our opponent's liver. So anytime someone throws that cross in a right-handed stance, I have a full liver kick open. And a hard liver kick will end it just like that. So if you're a righty, maybe start practicing standing in the left stance as well, because that is a huge advantage for lefties, is we have a full-on liver kick with our power leg. And once you get those basic foundations down, then you can start adding in combos, kicks, knees, and elbows.